Hey there! You just landed in No Clue, No Stress, a series of short cycling videos where experts of cycling industry explain things in a very simple way. So stop with rocket science. My name is Heidi Kanzler. Have you ever thought about changing your set of wheels? Well, Loren Gere of Rolf Prima Wheel Systems will soon be with me to explain all we need to know. Rolf Prima is a US-based company producing handmade wheels, using advanced technology and elegant design. So, are we ready to roll?
Loren, hi.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Nice to be with me today. I look forward in you explaining to me and to us some things about the wheels. So my first question would be, when and why should I consider changing my set of wheels?
Yeah, so the first answer would be simply and most obviously that your wheels are worn out or there is something wrong with your wheels. I think it's for rim brake models of wheels, there is a lifespan because as your brakes use your rims to slow down, they create friction and can, depending on how frequently you change your brake pads and whatnot, actually sort of grind away your rims. And eventually that will happen to most any wheel. And eventually they'll get thin and need to be replaced because the wheels are truly one of, if not the most important pieces in the bicycle in terms of how your bike performs, how they roll. So the bearings and the hubs play a huge amount on how fast you go, how smooth your bike rides, how it handles. And then there's also a really important place for weight. So rotational weight that spins, the physics of that means that you really feel that, especially on hills. The last one would be something with a deeper dish that's going to have aerodynamic properties are going to help you go faster and just maintain speed. And again, that's something that people will truly notice the difference, especially riding, into a wind. Holy smokes, I go way faster. This feels better. And in either case, you also will impact the handling of your bike, the way your bike responds to corners and technical terrain, etc.
What's the difference in between the aluminum kind of wheels and the carbon wheels?
So before we get into that, I should just kind of break down, just in case people don't know, the wheel is made of a hub, spokes, and a rim. And I know everyone probably knows this, but it's important to make these distinctions because they're understanding this helps you to know which type of wheel actually makes the most sense for you. If we're talking about, just for the sake of simplicity, we'll imagine that everything on the wheel we're imagining will be the same except for that rim. But if it has the same hub, and that's what actually makes the wheel spin, and we're looking at carbon versus aluminum, the most common thing people are going to think of is weight. So that's the thing with aluminum, you can make some very, very light rims, but you're reducing strength and rigidity, so how stiff they will be. While that is, of course, also the case with carbon fiber, not as much. So you can just make a strong wheel that weighs less. You can make a strong rim that weighs less. And then carbon fiber also has some what we refer to as dampening or ride quality to it because they can be engineered to have a little bit more flex and they absorb vibrations more than aluminum will. Aluminum will be stiffer. The thing that people often forget to look at is they're just looking like, okay, I want a carbon wheel. And they don't want to spend the most possible money, right? So they look at carbon wheels that are less expensive. And I don't think that's always the best decision because oftentimes what you get when you get a carbon wheel, a less expensive carbon wheel, is one, you get a rim that is made of carbon fiber, but it isn't super light. Right? So the inexpensive carbon can be almost as heavy as aluminum. The bigger issue is that oftentimes the producers of those wheels are just to hit that price point, to make them as inexpensive as they are, use a very low quality hub. And then you have low quality bearings that they don't spin well, they don't ride nice. And so, yeah, you have carbon rims, but they're spinning, like the hub's really the heart of the wheel. It's really what makes it work. And they're spinning on a device that isn't very good. So, for my money, if I were choosing between a really nice aluminum wheel or a less expensive kind of low model carbon wheel, I would always choose that nice aluminum wheel.
Now let's talk about the rim height. For me, when I come to shop, this always looks so fancy, and everybody is, everybody who does ride a bike a bit more, pro, do have these high rims. And I really don't know what does it mean if I get those kind of wheels. How will my experience of riding change?
What you're looking at with rim profile or rim depth, rim height, however you want to describe it, is primarily aerodynamics. So for flat road riding, the most significant force physically that is slowing you down is the wind you're riding into. If you have a deeper rim designed to shed wind, to pierce through the wind and go faster on a flat surface, you'll notice that. You'll go really fast on the flats. That's where you'll always see Ironman triathletes, or pretty much always, crits, flat roads, pros will choose a wheel based on the terrain. If they're in a flat day, they're all going to ride big, deep wheels. But no matter what you do, even the nicest wheel, if you make it deeper, you're going to make it heavier, right? And as you make it heavier, you're going to make the bike not climb as well. So lightweight wheel will be, like we refer to it in the US as being snappier or faster in handling, right? So like to go from one speed to another will be a little bit quicker. To go through corners, like your bike just kind of move from side to side more quickly. And also very importantly, if a deep rim, sure, it's piercing the wind in this direction, but if there's wind coming from the side that hits it, it can make the wheel want to go like this, like a rudder, right? And that's hard to control. So, and you don't want that. Our wheels do that less than many others, even the deep ones. And I could explain that later, but I'll hold off. But if you're riding somewhere very windy, then you don't want a super deep wheel. Like if it's routinely very, very windy. And so for those reasons, between the fact that, like some aerodynamics always benefit you, and the wind can be Harry, I say for the average rider, something in the middle is really what you want to do.
Now let's talk about the spokes. There are wheels that have a lot of spokes, and there are wheels that have really minimum amount of spokes.
They have some impact on aerodynamics for sure, on both aerodynamics and side wings, because you got to think like the spokes, people think they're like, oh, well, those spokes are very small, like they won't take that much air, right? But when you're riding a bike, the spokes are always moving, right? So they kind of create you can think of it as it's like to some degree, it's sort of like they're creating one thing, more spokes means less air can pass through the wheel. So yeah, that's the thing there. Now, what I have to say, because Rolf, Prima, we do this differently. We use technology to put the spokes very close together, so that and that allows us to use fewer spokes, which makes a lighter wheel. It allows more aerodynamics and more air to pass through, and it makes a good handling wheel as well. And so what it does is it takes two spokes and it puts them really close together, instead of being evenly spaced throughout the wheel, which balances out the tension between those two spokes. It will make it look like there's even fewer spokes. People look at them and from a distance, it could look like there was, 12 spokes or something, and if there's really 24, or you look really some of the light, wheels that have 20 spokes, it looks like there's 10 because they're right by each other. People go, whoa, what the heck? And it's really, a 20 spoke wheel isn't out of the ordinary in even a different situation. And by pairing the spokes together, we can make it stronger with the lower amount of spokes in there.
The regular wheels and the tubeless wheels, what's their difference? Is it just the maintenance, or is there a change in how you ride them?
Depends a little bit on what type of bike we're on. But I guess I'll try not to be too technical. The most important thing to know really is that tubeless tires generally get a lot fewer flats. And the way it works is, and you have to have a wheel that is designed for this and that's set up for it. But the way it works is that the tire just goes straight on to the wheel and there's no inner tube. But you put a sealant inside that, a liquid sealant, and it holds that together. And so in small punctures, that sealant will come out and seal them up. And more importantly, if you like hit a big bump or things like that, you can't pinch flat. So a common reason that you get a flat tire you won't even notice is that you hit a really hard bump, and that, say you hit a curb, and it pushes your tire and tube all the way up against your rim and pinches it and gives you a flat tire. And that just can't happen on a tubeless wheel because it's not there. And so it also allows you, then you can run less pressure, you can run less air in your tires because you're not guarding against that. And that becomes really important when you're riding mountain bike or gravel roads where a really hard tire is going to be quite uncomfortable. So tubeless can just improve your ride quality in that way.
Now, is there an approximation for the wheels? For how long do they last? Maybe if let's say miles. Yeah. Should they?
Yeah, I don't really have an easy answer for that one. It will matter. It will depend so much on what that wheel is being asked to do.
Does the weight of the body also impact this?
It can. It depends. Like if you are riding a heavy wheel on rough roads, and especially if it's a rim brake wheel. So say you're riding rough roads downhill and you're heavy, that's a lot of force to stop those wheels. You're going to wear out that rim brake track at some point. Any wheel, if you ride it long enough, you could definitely wear it out. If they're nice wheels, things like bearings inside the hubs, eventually those will go out depending again on your conditions. If it rains a lot, if you ride in a lot of bad weather, those bearings will go out, but nice wheels, you can just replace the bearings in them and keep them going.
To sum up, if your wheels aren't really worn out, why would a girl want to change her set of wheels in the terms of comfort or enjoyment in riding?
Yeah, that would be my short answer. My short answer would be because she wants to enjoy every bike ride more. Because with a nicer wheel that rolls smoother, handles better, climbs better, feels better in the wind, every pedal stroke is going to be just a little more fun.
Thank you so much for taking time and explaining all this to us. It was a very enjoying time spent with you.
Awesome. It was great to be here.
Thank you for watching. If you like the show, make sure you click subscribe. We have some other great content incoming, so make sure you don't miss it.